Good afternoon, students. In my today's class, I will going to explain about the archaeological sources of history. Here, archaeological sources are very important sources which helps us to understand or to know about our prehistoric period. Here, to know this prehistoric period, we do not have any written records. At that time, the only available sources which very much helps us to reconstruct the prehistoric period were archaeological sources. Here, archaeological sources are the remains of past human life and activities. Remains of past human life and activities. Here, archaeological sources are the only sources when we do not have written records. Archaeological sources helps us a lot to know about the history when we do not have any written records or any handy works. Here, some of the important archaeological sources are relics, then monuments, then tools, coins, seals, jewelry which was used by our ancestors, then inscriptions or epics, then remains of buildings, pottery, weapons, then paintings, fossils, etc. All these things were included in archaeology or archaeological study. So here archaeological sources are further classified into excavations, coins, that is study of coins, then inscriptions, then monuments, then art and painting. So all these various studies were included in the archaeological department. ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ವಸ್ತು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ. ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ವಸ್ತು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ. ಇನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಕಾಲದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಸಿವಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಾಗರಿಕತೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಜನರ ಜೀವನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದದ್ದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಲಿಖಿತ ಆಧಾರಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದೇ ಆಧಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪುನಃ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತವೆ, ವಿಧಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಣ್ಯಗಳ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉತ್ಖನನ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಡಿಗಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಹಿಸ್ಟೋರಿಕಲ್ ಸೈಟ್. ದಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಹಿಸ್ಟೋರಿಕಲ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು, ಡಿಗಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಏನಾದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಣ್ಣಿನೊಳಗಡೆ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಪುನಃ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ 14 ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಅದರ ಕ್ರೊನಾಲಜಿ ದೆನ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಅದರ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ದೆನ್ monuments, ಸ್ಮಾರಕಗಳು, then we have paintings, art, etc. So all these were included in these archaeological sources. First, I will going to discuss about the excavation, that is archaeological excavations. Then ಈ ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಉತ್ಖನನ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ಸ್. Excavation is scientific digging of a historical site. Scientific digging of an historical site, or that is scientific digging of earth for unearthing things. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಭೂಮಿಯೊಳಗೆ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಜನರು ಬಳಸಿದಂತ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಹುಡುಕಿ ನಂತರ ಅದನ್ನು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗೆ ಒಳಪಡಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್. The period where the written records are not available, that is called as prehistoric period, and the period where we get written records, that is called as historic period. Here mainly these archaeological sources helps us to know about our prehistoric period, because when we going to study about this prehistoric period, we do not have any written works. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಅಥವಾ ಅದೇ ಅವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಅಥವಾ ರಚಿಸಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಯಾವುದೇ ಲಿಖಿತ ಆಧಾರಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಏಕೈಕ ಆಧಾರಗಳು ಯಾವುದು? ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು, ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು. So here Indian archaeology is a science of recent growth. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಸರ್ವೇಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರಂಭವಾದದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ? ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಆಳ್ವಿಕೆಯ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ. That is a science of recent growth, but it has made wonderful progress. ನಂತರದ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಆರಂಭ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅನೇಕ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? ಮಹತ್ತರ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್ ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿವೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಆಗಿವೆ. In 1862 General Alexander Cunningham, in 1862 General Alexander Cunningham was appointed as the Archaeological Surveyor of India. He was appointed by the British government as the Archaeological Surveyor of India. That is General Alexander Cunningham. That is in the year 1862. And he made some of the great contribution for the study of Indian archaeology. By his personal investigations, he gave us a lot of information regarding geography of India. He made some of the personal excavations by his own interest, and he gave a lot of information about the geography of India. Then he also collected a large number of Indian coins through excavations. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಜನರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು? ನಾಣ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಬಟ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೇ ಮಣ್ಣಿನೊಳಗೆ ಹುದುಗಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಯಾವ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ದು, ಹೂ ಇಶ್ಯೂಡ್ ದೋಸ್ ಕಾಯಿನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ದೆನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಈಗ ಸೀಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಟರಿ or jewelry items like that, or remains of the buildings, etc. All such things were discovered through these archaeological excavations. In 1899, Lord Curzon, he became the Viceroy of British India. In 1899, Lord Curzon became the Viceroy of British India, and this is one of the great turning point in the history of Indian archaeology, because this Lord Curzon, he set up a separate department of archaeology. Separate department of archaeology. Who established that? Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of British India. And he appointed Sir John Marshall as the director of the archaeological department. He appointed Sir John Marshall as the director of the archaeological department of India, and under the supervision of Marshall, the ancient site of Takshila was excavated. Under the supervision of Sir John Marshall, ancient site of Takshila was excavated. Then Sir John Marshall discovered Harappa in 1921. This is another great achievement of Sir John Marshall. That is, in 1921 he discovered Harappa, one of the important city of Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization. ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಇದು ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ನಾಗರಿಕತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಬೆಳಕಿಗೆ ಬಂದದ್ದು ತೀರಾ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ಏಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಹರಪ್ಪನ್ ಸಿವಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಲಭ್ಯವಾಯಿತು. ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು? ಥ್ರೂ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕವೇಷನ್ಸ್. Then under the supervision of Marshall, here the ancient city of Pataliputra was also excavated by Dr. Spooner. With the influence which was received from this Sir John Marshall, Dr. Spooner, he excavated Pataliputra, one of the ancient city, very famous ancient city of India. Then in 1923, R.D. Banerjee started the work of excavation at Mohenjo-daro. Here Mohenjo-daro is the another site or an important city of Indus Valley civilization, and at Mohenjo-daro this archaeological excavation was started by R.D. Banerjee in 1922-23. The information got from this Harappa and Mohenjo-daro was collected together by Sir John Marshall, and he wrote one of his monumental work by name Mohenjo-daro and Indian Civilization. Means he wrote one of the book. He means here Sir John Marshall. He published a book by name Mohenjo-daro and Indian Civilization, and the information he collected from the excavations at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and brought together those informations and published a well-known work, Mohenjo-daro and Indian Civilization. This is one of the great work of Sir John Marshall. Then another archaeologist, that is S.R. Rao, archaeologist S.R. Rao, he excavated Rangpur in 1954. So these are the various archaeological excavations which were started in India because of the patronage received by this archaeological department, which was established by Lord Curzon. A lot of archaeological work was being carried on at present in various parts of India, because in India we have so many historical sites both in South and North India, and at present a lot of archaeological survey was going on or conducted by these archaeologists in different parts of India. Thus, archaeological sources provides us useful information to reconstruct our past or history. After excavations, we have another type of archaeological sources, that is inscriptions. Here, inscriptions also considered as one of the very important sources, and that is a part of archaeology. Here, inscriptions were also called as epics, ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನೇನು ಕರಿತೇವೆ ಶಾಸನ. Actually, your inscription means order or proclamation by a king or by a ruler. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಜಾಜ್ಞೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ. ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ಶಾಸನಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊರಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ? ಅರಸರು ಅಲ್ವಾ, ರೂಲರ್ಸ್. ಮತ್ತೇನಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅರಸನಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ತಿಳಿಸಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಅವನ ಈಗ ಯುದ್ಧದ ಒಂದು ವಿಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಅವನ ಏನು ಒಂದು ಡೊನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೊಡುಗೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಅದು ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್, ದೆನ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್, ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್, then cultural life of the status of ruler, etc. The study of inscriptions is called as epigraphy. ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅಂತಲೇ ಉಂಟು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 75,000ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಇತ್ತು, ಕೆಲವು ಮಣ್ಣಿನೊಳಗಡೆ ಸೇರಿ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು, ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದ್ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಒಂದು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೆಳಕಿಗೆ ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅಂತಲೇ ಇದೆ, ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಪಿಗ್ರಫಿ. ದಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಡಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಪಿಗ್ರಫಿ. ಹಿಯರ್ in archaeological sources, these inscriptions are considered as most valuable sources, because that is in written form. Actually inscriptions ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಲಿಪಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, language and script is found in inscriptions. Here actually inscriptions are also considered as most authentic, reliable, than direct sources in writing history. Inscriptions are engraved on stones. Mainly we find inscriptions which were engraved on stones or on temple walls, then on rocks or on caves and on copper and iron plates. So these are different kinds of inscriptions. Wherever now we call those inscriptions as rock cut edicts, then copper plate inscriptions, then cave inscriptions, like that. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್, ಕಲ್ಲಿನ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವು ಐರನ್ ಪಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಪರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಟ್, ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವು ಕೇವ್ಸ್, ಗುಹೆಗಳ ಕಲ್ಲಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಕೆತ್ತನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Inscriptions are engraved on stones, rocks, walls, then terracotta seals. Actually, terracotta seals means which were discovered from Harappan sites or the sites of Harappan civilization, and iron pillars. More than 75,000 inscriptions were discovered in India. More than 75,000 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಉಂಟು, ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಉಂಟು. ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ನೀವು ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅರಸರ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದ ಒಂದು ಶಾಸನಗಳು ಪತ್ತೆ ಆಯಿತು, ಹೀಗೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 75,000 ಇವಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗಾಗಲೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಮೋರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಡ್ ಬೈ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. And these inscriptions are in different languages, because in India we have many languages. There is linguistic diversity, means we have many vernacular languages. So here in North India we find inscriptions in Brahmi, Kharosthi, then Sanskrit, etc. But when we come to South India, we have inscriptions which are written in Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, etc. So these are the different languages which were used in writing inscriptions. Then inscriptions found are further classified into stone edicts. I already told stone edicts, then copper plate inscriptions, cave inscriptions, like that. The oldest inscription in the Indian subcontinent are in the yet undisappeared Harappan script. Actually, a number of seals, that is terracotta seals, were discovered from Harappan sites. But the script which was written on those seals was not yet disappeared. Means that is not known to anybody till today. That is in undisappeared form. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಯಾರು ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಲಿಪಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅದಿನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ತಿಳಿದು ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅನ್ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಕಿಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಒಂದು ಬರವಣಿಗೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಹರಪ್ಪನ್ ಸೀಲ್ಸ್, ಹರಪ್ಪನ್ ಮುದ್ರೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಬರವಣಿಗೆ. It is not known to us. And the oldest disappeared inscriptions belong to the late 14th century, and those inscriptions were in Brahmi and Kharosthi script. Kharosthi ಮತ್ತೆ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿ ಲಿಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಅದು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ತಪೂರ್ವ 4ನೇ ಶತಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರುವಂತದ್ದು. And here we have some of the discovered inscriptions, and those were further classified into donative, then commemorative, then religious, then dedicative, etc. ಹೇಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಗೆ ದಾನ ಮಾಡುವಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಅರಸನು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅವನ ಕೊರೋನೇಷನ್ ಸೆರೆಮನಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಹಿ ಅಚೀವ್ ಸಕ್ಸೆಸ್, ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಶಾಸನಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮೆಮೊರೇಟಿವ್, ಡೆಡಿಕೇಟಿವ್, ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. Some of the examples for the inscriptions are Atigumpa inscription of King Karavela, then Allahabad pillar inscription of Samudragupta, then Talagunda stone inscription of Shantivarman, then Aihole inscription of Pulakeshi II, then Mehruli iron pillar inscription. Then in south we have inscriptions discovered at Karle, Nasik, Banavasi, then Talagunda, Halmidi, then Uttaramerur, etc. All these are some of the best examples for inscriptions which are discovered in India. Apart from these inscriptions, we have so many other inscriptions. Mainly we have Ashokan edicts. Ashokan edicts. He issued a number of inscriptions, and his inscriptions or his edicts found both in South and North India. Ashoka issued many inscriptions all over India. Mainly after the Kalinga War, he embraced Buddhism, and in order to spread his Dhamma or his religious ideas, he issued a number of inscriptions. He issued 14 rock edicts, then 7 pillar edicts, then 2 separate Kalinga edicts. At Kalinga, he issued 2 separate Kalinga edicts, then 2 minor rock edicts, cave inscriptions, then 4 minor pillar edicts, etc. Means so many inscriptions were issued by Ashoka. So here Ashokan inscriptions were also considered as most ancient disappeared inscriptions. Means his inscriptions were known to everyone. Means the here a script which was used in his inscriptions was known to the archaeologists or historians, etc. That is mainly Brahmi and Kharosthi. So here he was considered as the pioneer of inscriptions or the father of inscriptions. So this is about the Ashokan inscriptions. So here inscriptions were also considered as one of the important archaeological sources which helps us to know about political, social, economic, religious and cultural life of the various dynasties and also people. It also helps us to know about the different rulers, their achievements, their wars, etc. That is totally political and administration. So here inscriptions are also considered as one of the important archaeological sources. Mainly when we dealing with the Indian prehistory, here a number of inscriptions which were issued mainly during prehistoric period where helps us to know about our past. So this is about the archaeological sources, mainly about excavations and inscriptions. And remaining archaeological source, about remaining sources I will explain in my next class. Okay, thank you.